Hey everyone, welcome to Whisky Web Wednesday. This week we're going to find out just how much is your whiskey in terms of the cost of the labels, the caps, the liquid, the glass, all that good stuff. We'll find out what it all comes to an average, and then you'll see just how much all the extras are. Before I do that, I'll just show you a few examples of some packaging here. This is Shelter Point's single cask peat. Glass top there, plastic capsule to hold everything in, labels, glass, bit of liquid left there. It's quite a standard style of bottle, whereas sometimes you get more of a individual molded bottle, and this is for Crown Royal here. Mass produced, so they've probably managed to get the cost down pretty low per bottle for this. They use a plastic cap here, a little plastic capsule over the top as well. The liquid. This is something a bit fancier. This is the Isle of Harris gin, all the way from the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. And a lot of thought and care has gone into the design of this bottle. You'll notice there's aquamarine colour at the bottom. This is beautiful effect inspired by Harris tweed. The label has flecks of sugar kelp in it, which is one of the key ingredients of the gin. The cap is large and wooden, and on the end there, instead of using a plastic capsule, they've actually used a label which shows the coordinates of the distillery, so quite fancy. And then because this is a UK bottle, they've got the UK tax sticker there. So those are three examples. So let's look at some averages of how much each component costs. I hope you can see that okay. So the capsule here, we'll start at the top, probably averages around 10-15 cents, something like that. If you're ordering thousands of them, probably might even be down to 1, 2, 3 cents, something. Just depends on quantity a lot of the time. The cap here, probably around $1. Depends on how fancy it is, of course. The plastic ones will be a lot cheaper than that, probably maybe like 20 to 50 cents. But then your more fancy ones could be $1, $2, something like that. The label, once again, very much depends on how premium you want to go. A standard label would cost maybe $1, $2, but I have seen labels up to $10 just for the label, because there's been so much gold and embossing and all these wonderful effects. So the more premium bottles, obviously they'll spend more on packaging. Excise duty very much depends on the strength of the whiskey. So it's a rate of $12.73 for a litre of absolute alcohol. So that typically works out to about $4 to $5 per bottle for a 750 ml bottle. So let's say $4.50 for around 46%. The liquid itself, you might be surprised at this. It's only about $4. Might even be less, like $3 for a younger whiskey. Older whiskies, you might get up to $7, $8, but it's never going to be much more than that. So the actual liquid that you cherish so much probably only costs around 1/10 or 1/20 of the price of a full bottle of single malt whiskey. Isn't that amazing? The glass, $3 maybe for a standard bottle, but maybe that fancy Harris bottle there with a custom mould costs a bit more. And it depends where you source your materials from as well. Obviously you're probably going to be more competitive buying from China or cheaper Asian countries. If you get your glass from Italy or something, then you're going to be paying more for a bottle. The box you put it in, now if it's say a box of 6 or a box of 12, it's probably going to work out like 50 cents per bottle for the box. It could be less, maybe 10 cents or so. If you've got a very fancy box with intricate design, then it could be more. If you have a tube or an additional box for each individual bottle, then that can be anywhere between like $1 and $5 as well. So we add all this up, we'll find out what the average is. Oh, here's my pen right here. Okay, so in this particular example, which I wouldn't say is like too far out of the ballpark for a lot of average, core expressions, you're probably looking at about $15 by the time you've paid for all these components of the whiskey, and I've maybe like factored in a bit of labour in there as well, and the cost of the grain and the utilities is factored into the liquid cost. So yeah, about $15 there. Now you may be asking, okay, why am I paying, $50, $60, $70, $80, $100 for my single malt whiskey? Well, this is just the first stage. Then you've got to add the profit margin for the distillery, you've got to pay for distribution, you've got to pay for marketing, you've got to pay for sales. There's further sales taxes as well, which is about 15% in BC. So it's always plus, 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 plus. And by the time everyone's had their share, yeah, you're sitting at around, $50 to $100 for a bottle of single malt whiskey. So I hope that's helpful in helping you understand the breakdown of, the cost of your whiskey. Don't be too put off by any of this, because at the end of the day, money's there to spend and enjoy the things you want. So for those of you that want whiskey, I would still say, $50 to $70, $100 is a worthy price to pay for such enjoyment and happiness. So I might actually pour one myself right now. Maybe a little single cask peat here. And remember that you're also paying for a time capsule as well. We've not invented a time machine yet, but with whiskey you can travel back to like the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. You're paying for history as well, and the romance and the art. So everything's not all just numbers and science. You're paying for provenance and the people and just all the good stuff that comes along with the water of life. So cheers everyone, hope you enjoyed that little educational video. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next Whisky Wednesday. Cheers.